Hey, Jill, and thank you everybody for being with us. As Jill said, I am Ron Connolly. I'm the VP of Technical Operations here at DP Solutions. We are a managed IT service provider, which is basically an outsourced company that takes care of all of your IT needs and technology needs. We also can augment internal IT teams where we can provide more support, resources ranging from end user desktop level support to infrastructure projects and more senior level support. Here at DP Solutions, I oversee several teams, including those tier 2 and escalated issues, projects, infrastructure, backups and disaster recovery, and of course, cybersecurity. For cybersecurity, here at DP Solutions, we utilize numerous tools that we put in place for all of our clients for automation and proactively tackling cybersecurity issues. But there are, of course, gaps in the system with new technologies that come out and everything. To fill those gaps, we partner with trusted partners such as Arctic Wolf, and we augment each other as far as supporting you. With that, I know everybody's here to see Arctic Wolf, so I'm going to turn it over to the team at Arctic Wolf and let them introduce themselves and give you a presentation about what they offer. With us today, we do have Sean, Tien, and Jack, and I'm going to turn it over to Jack to kick things off.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Ron, for the introduction. We will go ahead and get started. So my name is Jack Graven. I'm one of the account reps here at Arctic Wolf, supporting your local DC and Maryland area. I'll have Tien introduce himself quick and Sean introduce himself quick as well, and then we'll hop in.
Great. Thanks, Jack. Again, as Jack mentioned, my name is Tien, a pre-sales engineer here at Arctic Wolf. A little background myself, I've been in the IT industry for over 15 years, supporting organizations with their infrastructure, network, and cybersecurity needs.
Awesome. Thanks, Tien.
Great to meet everyone. I am Sean Brewers. I work on our MSP team here at Arctic Wolf, and I work with our strategic MSP partners. DP Solutions has been one of the longest ones, so very excited to share a joint presentation today with you guys.
Perfect. Thank you both. So as Jill and Ron mentioned, if you do have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat throughout this hour conversation. Like Jill mentioned as well, we will have time at the end for questions. But just a little agenda on what we're going to go through today. So the white glove security to end your cyber risk with Arctic Wolf. Here are the topics we're going to go through. So overall security operations with DP Solutions and Arctic Wolf. We'll then dive in a little bit with cyber insurance landscape. We can always jump in here more later in the conversations. Cyber insurance is a conversation that could be talked about for hours. We then have some cybersecurity trivia. So as you participate, there is a raffle for gift cards. So we are encouraging participation there in the chat. We'll talk about that again in a few more slides. Then our fourth topic, how DP Solutions and Arctic Wolf deliver the services in conjunction. Our fifth topic is the actual services that we offer here at Arctic Wolf. And then finally, some next steps and that time for Q&A. So just hopping in a little bit more background on Arctic Wolf, what security operations is, what we do to make security work here at Arctic Wolf. So we currently have over 4,000 customers, and as of the last few years, we are now on a global scale with the 24/7 always-on coverage for those customers. I believe this is even outdated. This slide's only a month old, and we now have almost 600 security engineers in our 5 data centers or SOCs globally. And then just steering your eyes down to the bottom there. So this is always a fun statistic, and every time I read it or talk about it, it actually still blows my mind. But Arctic Wolf is viewing around 500 billion different security operations per day. And you look at global email sent and Google searches there as well. So we are far more than the total global email sent and Google searches sent each day in our security operations that we are viewing on a daily basis. So how do we do this here? More into security operations, what we offer at Arctic Wolf. When we talk to folks, especially in the SMB space, which we consider around 0 to 500 or so users, so small, medium business space, we see a lot of organizations down there on that bottom left area. They may have some basic tools. They may have some perimeter tools, firewalls, spam filters, etc. Some of them may even be exploring some endpoint tools, some DLP, SSL inspection, some more defense in-depth tools as well. But when we talk to a lot of folks, where they would love to be is up on that top right. So being really resilient in the market. So being proactive, being confident in their cybersecurity posture, being compliant. We know there's a lot of compliancing bodies out there. There's a lot of compliancing needs. It's a messy area to navigate. But that's where we see a lot of companies wanting to be, as well as insurable. As I mentioned, cyber insurance. is ever growing and changing market. Even a couple months ago, the CEO of Zurich Insurance, so over in Europe, he stated that he believes in 3 to 5 years, cyber may not even be insurable, just based on the claims that are coming out, the cost of ransomware, just the overall cost, and those bad actors continuing to get smarter and smarter. So that's a terrifying thing to even think about, is that in someday cyber could be uninsurable. But then where does Arctic Wolf and DP Solutions really come in here? So we come as a partnership to really bridge that gap, providing that broad visibility, the 24/7 coverage that I mentioned, and Tien will dive in a little bit more in a few slides on that. The access to our expertise with our teams that we'll also talk about, some strategic guidance from those teams as well, and then continuous improvements on your cybersecurity posture, which is always super important to us. And then just I'll quickly highlight this. So what we call the effectiveness gap here at Arctic Wolf. You can see down on the bottom right there, there's around 3,400 different security companies across the world today. Last year, there was around $170 billion spent on security, and that actually increased 11% year over year from the previous year. So there's a lot of money being spent. There's a lot of companies out there. There's a lot of tools, but why did cyber crime increase 48%? As I mentioned, those bad actors continue to get smarter. They're finding new ways to get into your environment. But there's also maybe the effectiveness gap that we talk about. There could be some tools that are installed in your environment that may require more DIY, a less managed approach. And that only allows the bad actors to find ways in easier. So I always love to talk about this. It's crazy how much is being spent, crazy how many companies are out there, yet cybercrime is still increasing. Okay, I'll pass it over to Tien to highlight some cyber insurance market needs a little bit here.
Thanks, Jack. So really what you're seeing here is the security controls that are most common that cyber insurance providers are asking from their customers, the folks that they're providing coverage to. As you can see here, there's obviously the portions here that, you know, Arctic Wolf's solution completely solves for. Those are the full circles you see there. But you can also see that there are some half circles where we strengthen our support. And that's where we're leaning towards trusted partners such as DP Solutions to help you fill that full circle, such as, you know, making sure your data is multi-factor authenticated and controlled with that type of access, as well as securing and testing your backups. One thing worth mentioning with backups, traditionally in the past, as long as you had them and they're scheduled to run, that was good enough. But now they're getting more complex with the needs or asks of backup, such as asking for air gap backup solutions, which is a broad statement. And then that's when a partner like DP Solutions can help your organization to, you know, define your recovery point objectives and your recovery time objectives to properly build out those air gap solutions. Again, as Ron mentioned earlier, DP Solutions implement tools that will help patch your systems and applications, making sure that, such as Windows patching is happening. As we know, every Tuesday, second Tuesday every month, Microsoft releases patches, and there's usually a good amount of them. So having partners such as DP Solutions using their tools to push out those patches is critical to environments, as well as securing your endpoints, making sure that, you know, antivirus is installed and we're getting the proper alerting with DP Solutions on securing your endpoints, and then anything that's happening on the endpoints when it comes to security. And then also preparing your organization for incident response. You know, we all try our best to prevent incident response from having to occur, but it's always good to have a trusted partner like DP Solutions working alongside our Arctic Wolf team to make sure that you are as prepared as possible for an incident, and that you're getting the support you're needing when it comes to incidents that do occur. And as you can see on the far left here, there's a supply of needs when it comes to insurance providers, and then demand from insurers in order to, you know, get that insurance coverage so that way their organizations are protected if that bad day were to happen. We can move on to the next slide here, Jack.
Awesome. And I believe this is going to be Sean that will highlight some of the stuff on Arctic Wolf and DP Solutions partnership together.
Yeah, hey guys. So really just want to make sure we highlight from the Arctic Wolf perspective the relationship that we have with DP Solutions, and, you know, really transparently where we play and where we need partners like DP to come in. And we've had a Well, I'll preface by saying we're 100% channel organization. So the reason we need to do that is because of everything that DP Solutions can do on the right and really be that hands-on for remediation. The way you can really look at Arctic Wolf and what we post on the left there, Jack will obviously, and Tina will get a little more into detail on what we're doing, but you can really think of us as the hands-on glass, not the, or I'm sorry, the eyes on glass, not the hands-on keyboard. And that's where we need partners like DP to be able to come in and provide, you know, whether to Ron's point, augment some of your IT where you need it or fully take on the IT for you guys. And yeah, that's something Arctic Wolf's never going to do. So we need strategic partners like DP Solutions to really put that security partnership together. And you'll see how important that is to the outcomes that, you know, Jack's highlighted where the threat landscape's at. Really where we're playing is also from what Jack covered on the scale that we have is that true 24/7 coverage, large SOC team. And then we need that hands-on remediation help from a partner like DP Solutions. So just want to make sure before we get into some of the stuff from the Arctic Wolf side, it's pretty clear why we have this partnership in place and the need for DP Solutions. But I'll leave it there, guys.
Perfect. Thank you, Sean. And now I believe we're getting to the fun part where we're going to ask for some participation from the group. So we have 3 trivia questions. And as you can see, each question is worth a different amount. I guess question 1 and 2 are both worth $25 and question number 3 is worth $50. So when I read the question, we're just asking for participation in the chat. The answer does not have to be correct. Obviously, we would love it to be correct or as close to correct as possible. But what we're going to do is I'll read the question, have you all throw your answers in the chat. And then I believe we have Megan and Jill who are going to monitor the chat, and then we'll have a raffle after for the winners of the gift card. So here is question 1. What attack vector is an organization's weakest link and cyber criminals target the most? So I'll give 1 to 2 minutes here for you guys to answer in the chat. Question again is what attack vector is an organization's weakest link and cyber criminals target the most?
And yes, you can use the questions field or the chat field. That was one of the questions. So yes, we can see both. Yep. Okay, I'm starting to get some answers in. Are you guys seeing the answers or you want me to read them?
I was just going to say, it doesn't look like as an organizer I'm allowed to see, so you might have to read some off for me.
Yep. So we got a couple people saying the end users, emails, humans. It has to be either the newest employee or the oldest employee at a given company. People are saying, and other people are saying emails. Oh, someone says the president or CEO.
That might be true.
Yeah, actually very interesting answers.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a lot of you had this correct. It is actually the end users. So 90% of cyber attacks start with targeting end users. So that could be through phishing, smishing, all these different types of ishing words that are now out there, or other social engineering methods. So protecting those end users, making sure they're aware of what is going on in the market, making sure that they're aware of the emails that are coming in and really double checking those links before they click, because that can cause a lot of harm just by clicking on a single link. Next question we have is, what does XDR stand for? So looking just for the definition, but we have quite a few bullets about XDR as well. Anything is correct here regarding that. What does XDR stand for?
All right. So people are thinking about that. Okay, we got extended detection and response. Yep. Same response, same response, extended detection and response.
Give like 20 more seconds.
Yeah. Yep, we have a bunch of extended detection and response.
Sounds like you guys all get it. Extended detection and response is the correct answer. Just a little bit more about what XDR is. So it's really getting everything into that single pane of glass. It's a consolidation of tools, which we'd love to do here at Arctic Wolf. So really consolidate everything that you have. And another way to do this is it could be a single vendor consolidating everything in your tool stack, or really just you guys using one single pane of glass for your environment. So the last question we have here, and this is the $50 question, so make sure that you are participating. We got two questions. The first one is in millions. What is the average cost of an incident for SMB organizations? So that is the 0 to 500 user amount there. And then bonus question, what is the average downtime after an incident? So this is going to be hard because they are exact numbers that we're looking for, but anything in the range is great. So the questions again are in millions, what is the average cost of an incident for SMB organizations? And then the bonus is what is the average downtime after an incident?
We've got 2 responses in.
Awesome.
Remember, all you gotta do is take a guess and you'll be entered in that raffle.
It does not have to be correct answer.
All right. All right, we got 1.5 million, 1.24 million, 4.4 million, 5 to 8 million, 200,000, 1.2 million. And then as far as downtime, we've got 1 week, 6 months, 1 week, 3 weeks, 7 to 21 days.
Awesome. Those are all great answers. So the correct answer here is just over $3 million. And the average downtime after that incident is 21 days. So for organizations, especially in that SMB space, this could be the difference of keeping your doors open or closed, which is a terrifying thing to think about. But a $3 million ransomware attack could be something that shuts the doors down, and then being down after those 21 days could also cause some major harm there, a major loss in business revenue with that amount of downtime. Thank you all for participating in that. I believe now I will pass it over to Tien, and we're going to dive a lot deeper into the actual solutions that we offer here at Arctic Wolf. So like I mentioned before, if you do have questions, feel free to just throw them in the chat, and Jill can read them out as we have them. So Tien, the floor is yours.
Thanks again, Jack. So really, I want to start the conversation of how we provide services here at Arctic Wolf through the security operations team, or our security operations center. And that involves 2 different teams here, a tactical team and a strategic team. The tactical team would be our triage team, which is monitoring your infrastructure 24/7. So that way we are looking at alerts and logging information that's coming in during business hours, obviously, but also most importantly when the business isn't at its daily operational hours, primarily because threat actors seem to like to work within those hours where the organization isn't fully staffed, and network performance isn't going to be necessarily looked at as a problem if they're trying to do data transfers or anything large in the inside of the network. So usually when users are at home and not working, that's their best opportunity to actually do their activities that would require a larger usage of the network. So really by doing that, we are able to provide that 24/7 coverage and identify if there is a threat actor in an environment with what we call mean time. And really what that means is that threat actors sitting in an environment waiting to execute when things wouldn't be noticed that they're there, and then obviously lessening their activities during business hours when it could be noticed that they are in the environment. And then the second portion of the security operations center teams at Arctic Wolf would be our concierge security team, which provides expertise and guidance working alongside DP solutions to make sure that we are doing everything to harden a organization's cybersecurity posture, and making sure that we are identifying anything new that needs to be strengthened, such as firewall configuration hardening, antivirus hardening, things of that nature. As we know, every year things change in the cybersecurity world, and new things need to be added to configurations of infrastructure, so that way they are hardened to the most current requirements in the cybersecurity world. We can move on to the next slide here. And really, how we're doing all this is that we're actually taking a broad visibility approach with our open XDR architecture. And really what that means is that we are vendor agnostic, and we are able to ingest syslogs from any type of technology that provides the ability to syslog into our systems. And traditionally, we're seeing a lot of organizations get alerting for their endpoint and firewall to have some of that visibility, but a lot of times we're not looking at the full picture here, which consists of your network, which is 30% of what we should be looking at, as threat actors are using the network heavily to actually do some of the things they're doing, such as command and control IP addresses on the internet. And really what that means is that threat actors traditionally need to communicate back or phone home to a command and control server, where they can provide instructions and then feed data back to the threat actors' servers, so that way they can continue to persist through the network and then move laterally and then do research and seeing how much damage they can actually do on a particular environment. And then at that point, then they are going to, try to laterally move with identity, and, especially if you have any kind of cloud services that is accessible to, anyone that has an internet connection. A lot of times they're going to try to penetrate into that as well. So the Arctic Wolf solution here does provide telemetry that we collect through 3 different tools that I'll get into a little bit later. So that way we can have visibility into all of these areas and making sure that we are correlating and alerting on anything that we're finding, let's say on the network, and then that information is correlating with endpoint information as well as any identity information. So that way we can actually compile a full picture of what an indicative compromise is looking like for a particular organization, if there is something going on that shouldn't be going on. We can move to the next slide here, Jack. And how we're doing that here is within our security operations platform. And again, we are collecting telemetry through 3 different tools. The telemetry data points that you see at the bottom is what we're collecting with those 3 tools. The 3 tools, real high level, that I wanted to mention is a physical appliance that we call a network sensor, as well as integration into your cloud services. So that way we are able to collect logs for suspicious logins or risky logins and possible travel. And then we also have an Arctic Wolf endpoint agent going on workstations and server endpoints. So that way we can get more visibility into the endpoints of threat actors doing what they call living off the land, and work using tools that are legitimate on, like, say, a Windows endpoint machine, such as the command line or a PowerShell, which is a legitimate Windows application that threat actors really like to use in order to, obfuscate their activities and make it look like they are doing legitimate things on a particular endpoint. We're collecting all that information into our Arctic Wolf platform, which is a native cloud SIM solution. If anyone isn't aware what a SIM solution is a security incident event management tool that takes raw log data, such as the telemetry that we're collecting at the bottom there, enriching that data, and then providing outcomes based on the data we're seeing with AI machine learning. We also have the Arctic Wolf Labs that helps enhance the platform with threat intelligence. As Jack mentioned earlier, we have about over 4,000 customers using the Arctic Wolf solution, and all of our customers benefit from that with the Arctic Wolf Labs team, as any threat intelligence that they are finding about emerging or new threats that have come out within the other organizations that we're working with, we would be able to build detections based on anything that our labs teams finds, and then also help other customers prevent any new and emerging threats that are happening in the cybersecurity world. All that being delivered under the concierge delivery model. Again, that is the concierge security team, as well as that 24/7 triage team, is how we are delivering our services with the 500 plus, I believe 600 plus now actually, cybersecurity analysts that work within our SOC, or our security operations center. And then everything that I've just spoke about there is offered within our managed detect and response solution. You get the 24/7 monitoring, as well as the cloud native SIM solution, all being offered within that MDR solution that we have. It is our flagship solution that 70% of our customers usually go with that that particular offering, as well as having a managed risk solution, which is again a proactive, continuous scan of your external, internal, and host-based vulnerabilities, so that way we can proactively, remediate any known threats, and then as well, or vulnerabilities. And then there is an incident response arm of the Arctic Wolf solution here, where we can offer talent that does incident response all day, and that is all they do. They're experts in that area, and providing our customers with that type of expertise can be really helpful in those situations when the bad day does come, as there will be a lot of different things happening, and then these folks basically deal with those bad days for all of our customers on a daily basis. And here I want to dive a little bit deeper into the managed detect and response solution here. As you can see, we can see what we are offering here with 24/7 coverage, the managed containment. Really what that means is that we are able to do containment based on anything we're seeing on a endpoint host, or we are able to do network containment with our sensor, which is being managed by our triage team. How they're doing that is when organizations work with DP Solutions and Arctic Wolf, we develop run books for what to do in the situation. We do the Arctic Wolf solution is finding threats that are happening, or something goes bump in the night at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. How should we handle those situations? And really, those run books will tell us, hey, we can do containment on endpoints at any given time, and then maybe a more sensitive server to the organization may need a more specific containment run book that is created, so that way we're not having an impact on the business, because that server is business critical to the organization. And then we can see that we also provide live threat hunting with the triage team. So really what that means is that they're taking that information. If they're getting an alert of something suspicious, they're going to dig into that alert and then use the telemetry we're collecting to correlate that information to see if they are able to define the indicator of compromise and root cause of how a particular threat actor had got into an organization's environment, and then how to remediate and stop it and harden it after they've discovered how the indicator of compromise occurred. And then the pillars of the NIST cybersecurity framework, and the highlighted areas there that you see, the detect, respond, and recover, that is where the MDR solution fulfills those pillars within this NIST cybersecurity framework. So that way you can be assured that you are getting the detection that you're expecting, the response that we would have when it comes to finding threats in an organization, and then how to recover from any threats that we are finding based on any alerting that we're seeing. We can move to the next slide, Jack. And here we're taking a more in-depth look into the managed risk solution that we offer. And this is, again, the proactive scanning and remediation of vulnerabilities in a particular environment. As you can see, 20% of the vulnerabilities that were discovered back in 2021 were critical or high. And really what that means is just the ability to be able to remediate those vulnerabilities that are found in an organization. And again, this is where the partnership between Arctic Wolf and DP Solutions is very powerful, in that Arctic Wolf, we can use our tools to identify those vulnerabilities, and then leaning on a partner such as DP Solution to be able to help organizations remediate that. And sometimes remediation isn't just throwing a patch on a machine. It could be downtime that is required to do remediation, hardening of an environment. One example is firewall firmwares. That's typically something you don't want to do during the day, just because that does take the firewall down for a period of time. And DP Solutions has a process where if something were to happen with the upgrade, they are able to fall back into a backup plan, so that way they can recover the firewall. So that's usually why we want to make sure that working with organizations and a partner like DP Solutions, that we have a path to remediate a vulnerability or a risk, and then also make sure that if there is something that occurs based on what we're doing or changes we're making based on the vulnerability, that we are able to recover from that. And then again, at the bottom, you're seeing the NIST cybersecurity framework pillars that the managed risk solution covers. And in this case here, we're identifying risks with our solution and then protecting the organization by remediating those vulnerabilities that we're finding working with our partner DP Solutions. And really, the final solution that I want to dive deeper into is our incident response solution. And again, I didn't dive into this too much in the earlier visual, but here is where we are, looking at making sure that a threat is eradicated from a particular organization. If there's data recovery needed, that we are working with your organization as well as DP Solutions to make sure that we are able to recover when we are able to recover. As we all know, cybersecurity insurance providers tend to not want us to make changes right away when something has occurred. We do have to, let them have their forensics teams come in and do work based on, what they need. So that way they have information and can provide coverage. And so data recovery is going to be an important function of the incident response if that's needed. So that way we're working alongside DP Solutions and the needs of cybersecurity insurance. So that way you're getting your coverage. And if there is a payout of that coverage, that you're getting paid out in that. Obviously, restoration of all your systems. If there is the chance that we do have to communicate with a threat actor, such as ransomware negotiations, that is something that our incident response team has done in the past. Obviously, that isn't the ideal situation, but a lot of times, ransoms can go up into the millions, and then at that point, a lot of SMBs probably can't afford that. Maybe insurance doesn't cover all of it. At that point, then there has to be a negotiation that has to happen with threat actors in order to possibly get a recovery key or even data returned to an organization. And then really all that being offered within an incident response jumpstart retainer that Arctic Wolf here offers. And then we provide that digital forensics in the event, again, that we need to provide evidence to cybersecurity insurance providers for what had happened with a particular incident. And again, you can see that the 5 pillars that this particular solution covers within the NIST cybersecurity framework. And then also 86% of the time, Arctic Wolf is able to identify the root point of compromise when we are having to enact our incident response team.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tian. Now, I believe we got one more slide we can walk through with some business email compromise, an actual example. Tian, I'll pass this back to you and have you walk through it. I'll just build it out here for you.
Thanks, Jack. So I really like using this visual here. This gives organizations an idea of how the Arctic Wolf solution works in action. And in this case here, this was a business email compromise incident that we worked on with a manufacturing firm. And as you can see here with the timeline, within seconds, we are able to see that there is a log activity for MFA pushes to a legitimate user account. So in this case here, the legitimate user account actually had their credentials compromised, maybe through one of those big data breaches that can occur. And then at some point, as the user was getting those MFA pushes, they accepted the multi-factor authentication to allow the attacker in. And at this point here, the attacker starts leveraging the user's mailbox in order to do malicious activities. We are seeing the logs for the successful login as well as the multi-factor authentication acceptance. And then we're seeing the threat actor now, opening up a calendar and then trying to create legitimate calendars that an end user may not notice as malicious, and then trying to actually leverage that calendar to forward basically rules and emails to the user's inbox. And then at this point here, not too long after, the Arctic Wolf team is seeing 365 logs showing some malicious behavior with that particular user account on this Office 365 system, and that is through that integration, the cloud integration that we have, and then they're detecting that rules are being created that look suspicious. And at that point, then the Arctic Wolf triage team begins their investigation on that particular user account. And this is where we're correlating the multi-factor authentication logs as well as login activity, where they're logging in from, where this user usually logs in from. Maybe that's an indicator of compromise that we should be looking at, that we shouldn't allow logins from international countries, things of that nature. And then not too long after, we are seeing the actor upload phishing PDFs into the OneDrive of that particular user with the intent to distribute through the email calendar that they created by inviting attendees. Again, making things look very legitimate, using tools that are legitimate tools that the user probably uses on a day-to-day basis, such as OneDrive, Outlook, things like that. And then a few minutes later, you see that the triage team investigates alerts coming from that particular user, and that the user has been compromised. So we are now reaching out to DP Solutions and the customer to let them know what's going on about what we're seeing, and then recommendations that we can make, so that way we can, at the very least, try to minimize any lateral movement or damage that could be caused by this particular threat actor by disabling the account or even resetting the credentials that gave them access, and then logging off all active sessions at the current moment, so that way the threat actor would have to re-authenticate, and then at that point not have the new password to actually get in. And then you can see not too long after, the customer did confirm that the user's account is compromised, and they had disabled the account just to minimize any damage, and that should kick out the threat actor from the user's login. And then you can see at 1:31, concierge security team is working with the customer to check any log data for the customer's users that may have accessed that particular phishing PDF. So that way, if there is anyone that accessed it, opened it, we are working on their endpoints or their workstations or laptops to make sure that we're doing antivirus scans, making sure they're protected and nothing malicious is occurring on those. And then again, remediation, users that had access that, again, and assist those customers by remediating. And then also, this isn't part of this particular visual, but there could be a security journey portion where, working with DP Solutions, we can start to look at how we can harden the environment, such as disabling the ability to log in from international countries if that's not something that was already set up previously, or maybe a little education about if a user is getting multi-factor authentication notifications and they're not logging into something, that could be a red flag to indicate to DP Solutions about what's going on, and DP Solutions working with your organization to make sure that if credentials are compromised, that we go ahead and reset those, and hopefully stop any type of MFA pushes that are going to a particular user. So really like this timeline. Hope that really helps everyone understand how the Arctic Wolf solution works in action.
Thank you, Tian. Now passing off to Jill just to highlight some next steps, and then we'll dive into some questions for the last 15 or so minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So like it says, think of, maybe how you can improve your security posture. And if you want to get in touch with the DP Solutions and Arctic Wolf team, we're happy to have those discussions. If you do end up having a meeting with your DP Solutions rep at Arctic Wolf, we will provide you with a gift card for lunch. However, for just attending today's webinar, we will be emailing you out a gift card to Jam Eats. So thank you all for that. And then just go ahead and start thinking about any of your questions. You can use the same panel to ask any questions that you might have of the team. And you can also learn more on DP Solutions website under IT services, and then go to IT security and compliance. So we can take any questions now. There we go.
Awesome.
Yes, and we do have some that we commonly hear. So I'll start with that just to get your guys, wheels turning. Okay, so can you tell us what the difference is between a SOC and a NOC?
You want me to take that one, Jack?
Yep, it's all you.
Yeah. So really the main difference between a network operations center or a NOC and a security operations center or a SOC is that the network operations center is monitoring the infrastructure to make sure that everything is up and running for an organization, so that way, technology isn't, causing any problems with an organization, such as downtime. So again, Ron mentioned tools that DP Solutions implements. A lot of those tools will alert when, let's say, a server goes down, and let's say that server happens to be a database server that is important to the organization, and so organizations will want to know, when that happens, and obviously alert DP Solutions, technical experts on when that happens, so that way they can start working on why, a business critical server could be down at the current moment, as well as if firewall is to go down, switching, anything of that nature, really providing that, alerting and visibility into the infrastructure, and staying up is obviously the primary goal there when it comes to a knock, and alerting organizations when something goes down, and how they're going to actually bring things back up. As when it comes to the Security Operations Center, our primary focus here at Arctic Wolf would be, again, visibility and monitoring of security events, and so that is, again, anything that we're seeing, such as the timeline example, if we're seeing malicious behavior in a particular cloud platform that an organization uses, or if we're seeing malicious activity, again, on the network, where we're maybe seeing large data transfers happening at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, when your organization really isn't in operation. Why is there 10, 20, 30 gigabytes worth of data being moved out, to an external IP address, at certain times? And that's really, how, where our focus is when it comes to the Cybersecurity Operations Center, is focusing primarily on the network or the security side of things, while the NOC continues to focus on the infrastructure side of things.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. And so we did have a question come in. You mentioned compliance. How exactly does Arctic Wolf help meet different compliance needs?
I can start, and then I'll have you wrap up the question, but it all depends on the different compliancing body that you are working with. But alongside our concierge security team and the partnership with DP Solutions, we have different reporting that we're able to pull on your environment that we can provide to those compliancing bodies. I know Tian mentioned some of it too, like a lot of it is just mapping to certain controls. We also have some sheets that follow those controls, so you can see where our different solutions map to. But if there is more questions regarding that, and there's a certain compliancing body, whether it be FFIEC, NIST, SOC Type 2, we can work through those with you directly. So that would be something where we'd love to set up more time, figure out what those compliancing bodies are, and then dive a little deeper. Anything else you want to add there, Tian?
Yeah, no, Jack, you really kind of, got everything covered there, in the sense that, the focus of the Arctic Wolf solution is to fulfill the 5 cybersecurity NIST framework pillars. And a lot of compliance bodies out there, they do ask for different things when it comes to different types of data that's being handled or stored. So really what they're looking at is those 5 pillars to start, and really kind of, move into what their needs are for that particular compliance body. But really, they all end up starting at those 5 pillars in the NIST cybersecurity framework. And really how Arctic Wolf can help is providing that monitoring and visibility with our tools to, provide some of those compliance needs, and then working with DP Solutions to be able to make any remediation changes that would be required for that compliance body. I hope that answered that question.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, our next question is, why do businesses need a SOC instead of just a SIM?
That's a great question, Jack. I think I'll take that one. So really, having a security incident event management tool, or a SIM, is great to have. It is going to be something that I can see required by cybersecurity insurance providers in the future. But really, just installing the SIM itself is just a tool. you would want to have cybersecurity experts that enhance that tool by reviewing the data, maybe doing some enrichment of the data with automation tools that a SIM can possibly provide. But the problem there is that there is a shortage of cybersecurity talent that can actually do proper management of a SIM solution, and that's where the Arctic Wolf team comes into play. As we've built our cloud-native SIM solution over the last 10 years with things we've seen, with our customers, and enhanced it with 80,000 plus custom correlation rules. So having those security experts, the 600 plus security experts that work within our security operations center really helps us to enhance our SIM and be an industry leader when it comes to enriching information and then providing outcomes to organizations.
Great. Anyone else have anything to add? Good. All right, we do have one more question. See a lot of security tools out there. Why is Arctic Wolf different from other security tools in the market?
Dan, I'll have you answer one as well.
All right. I just want to make sure. So, like Jack had mentioned, with the effectiveness gap, there are a lot of tools, a lot of cybersecurity companies that have hit the market in the last 5 to 10 years. A lot of great endpoint detect and response solutions, a lot of SIM solutions. You're going to start hearing more buzzwords like zero trust. Microsoft has a great security offering as well. So a lot of great tools out there to help your organization protect your data, protect your users, and really provide some of those protections. But in order to make those protections most valuable and get the best return on your investment, you're going to need more than just tools in your organizations. And here at Arctic Wolf, we obviously have tools that we install so that way we can get some visibility into environment. But really, our focus is the people that work at the Arctic Wolf Security Operations Center. We focus primarily on providing great cybersecurity services to our customers, so that way they feel that they can go to, that they feel like they're fully protected, and they can go sleep at night. I know that I speak to a lot of organizations, a lot of thin IT teams, where they worry about what if it happens to me. They read the news and they're like, oh my gosh, what if that were to happen to me one day? So really, the Arctic Wolf solution is a service that can provide peace of mind to a lot of organizations that, we are monitoring everything on a 24/7 basis. And again, working with the DP Solutions team and our concierge security team to harden and strengthen your environment and make you feel, comfortable that we're doing our best that we can to protect your environment. But again, as everyone has mentioned, emerging threats are always changing. Threat actors getting smarter, more sophisticated. And that is just something that we continue to make sure that our security operations folks are actually, fully educated as well and knowing what's out there when it comes to emerging threats.
Great. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in, but if you guys think of anything, in the next couple hours or whatever, just reach out to DP Solutions, to your rep. You can also email me. We'll get your questions taken care of. So with that, I think we can wrap up. But I will send a recording out along with everyone gets a gift card to Jam Eats. And just want to thank everybody for taking the time to tune in this morning. All right.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you joining. Ron, thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jack, Tien, Sean. Thanks for presenting and great information across the board.
Awesome. Thanks, team.
All right. Take care.